Since it's FSG and we're poor now, and we're only in the Europa League, we may need to sell to fund the rebuild. See, that makes me so angry. Not that you've said it, my friend, but because every summer we find a reason to potentially justify the miserly ways of our owners. And I will say this: we're in the Europa League. It's a loss in revenue, but we can't ignore the reasons why we're in the Europa League and why we found ourselves in this position. And for me, we found ourselves in this position because of a clear lack of investment, because of a clear succession plan for midfield and players who many of us have known for at least 18 months were coming to the end of their peak, the end of their time, let's be frank about it, at Liverpool Football Club. And to not see a succession plan there, I can only say is really poor from everybody involved, whether it be Jurgen Klopp, whether it be the scouts, whether it be the recruitment team, whoever. It's not great for a club that's prided itself on being very good in the transfer market, of being very clever, of being ruthless in the way we operate and do things. I don't see where the plan is. I don't see where the plan is. And the fact that we haven't had a season where we've seen new blood brought into midfield, I think, and I hope that this has shown that you can't half-ass it. You have to get these decisions right. The Premier League's ruthless, and you will be found out very quickly. All top Reds loving life right now. Enjoy vibes. Trust the process. We're in Project Rebuild. Look, I hate going against my own fan base. I hate speaking against other Liverpool fans. I hate to do it because we should be all in the same, rowing in the same direction. And we all want the same thing ultimately, which is Liverpool to be successful. And we agree on a lot of things. We agree on Jurgen Klopp being the right man to keep moving us forward. We agree on a lot of the players who are at the club. But I think that there is a divide between how the owners are viewed. Some of us are very vocal on, and look, for me, it's purely about spending. There's other stuff with FSG that I could understand, turn a blind eye to if the investment was right, but it isn't, and it hasn't been. And again, rather than using the reason that we're in the Europa League as an excuse to spend less money, how about a bit of self-awareness and understanding that we're in this mess because of a lack of investment? When you see other clubs like Arsenal, I hate to keep going on and on over the same thing, but they qualify for the Champions League once in, I don't know, a few years, and they're talk of 200 million for Arteta, and they want to push on. They want to continue to stay there, and they want to invest. I'd love to see that enthusiasm and that ambition. Yeah, ambition from our owners. Because look, I'm going to say this clearly. We can spend money. They choose and have chosen not to. Don't ever be under any illusion that if Liverpool wanted to, they couldn't have accessed money to strengthen. And it wouldn't have landed us in FFP, but it would have meant that FSG had to put their hands in their fucking pockets. And we know that they want Liverpool, and what they say, self-sustaining. That's a bit of a glory term for we ain't putting a fucking shilling in. Let's be honest. Self-sustaining means we ain't doing shit. You spend the money you have and that's it. Tough shit. You don't make any more, tough shit. Don't win the league, tough shit. It's not good enough. It isn't good enough. How much do we spend this summer? Said Ghost Panda. Your guess is as good as mine, but let me just say this. I'm not extremely confident sitting here that we're going to finish this window and go, yep, done it. We've boxed off every position. We've rebuilt the midfield. We've brought in a defender. We've lost nobody and we're good to go. That's my worry. That's my concern. Because some of the players that I've seen us being linked with are worrying. They're not good enough. They aren't. Like, I keep coming back to Mason Mount. The fact that he was even a priority is a worry to me. I don't think he is good enough to potentially gamble your rebuild on. I don't see it. Not saying we should be doing so, but buy players. But I think we're going to see more players sold than we expect. I don't know who we can sell though, Mickey. I don't know who we sell. If you're expecting some players to go, who? Because for me, Reece Williams maybe, Nat Phillips maybe, Kelleher hopefully not, but maybe. Who said it to me yesterday? that there was a rumour going around that Liverpool used Tyler Morton to try and get somebody else. And I can't remember who it was. I'm sure you guys would be able to remind me. Lavia. Oh, yeah, no. Pass. Pass. What I've seen from Lavia today didn't impress me. Now, look, again, one game, end of season affair. But it didn't impress me. In fact, you've seen the mistake he made for our goal. He passed the ball to Diogo Jota. And again, if I said to you guys, we are gambling our rebuild, and he's one of the players, I can't sit here and say with a clean conscience that I feel confident that that will work. It might work, but might isn't what we want this summer. We want, like, nailed on, oh, I can totally understand that signing, like McAllister. Szoboszlai, a centre-back, and a DM are needed alongside Alexis McAllister, said Casey. Szoboszlai, look, there's a few players that with the new sporting director coming in, Szoboszlai could be one, because if he's going to be looking at the German market, then, you know, Szoboszlai is an RB Leipzig player, so that would make some sense. Kone is one that was mentioned by name in an article yesterday. I think it was Christian Falk, if my memory is not mistaken. My question is, when FSG are going to brief the journos that we ain't got the money. So here's why I'm worried. If you put the whole picture together, we haven't brought on investment, so there isn't a pool of cash sitting there. We've seen nothing in FSG's past to suggest that they're willing to pony up a load of cash without bringing money in. And I'm already starting to see links to players that I don't think are good enough. So I'm a little bit worried from that regard. Now, I'm not saying we won't make the signings. I'm just saying I'm nervous. Maddie has put in a yoke saying, breaking, McAllister along with his father Carlos and his representatives finalised details of the transfer to Liverpool in an operation that ranges from €70 million with a contract until June 2028. So €70 million makes sense to me. That's in the low 60s. Like I was saying to you guys, I expect that number to be closer to 60 than the 70 that was mentioned. Good. Hopefully we get this announcement soon. You know, you'd want it before anybody heads off on holidays. Hopefully we could get the Alexis McAllister deal done, get the media stuff done, and then give us a little boost before the lads go off onto the holidays, and then come back for pre-season. 30 more would get us, Jude. I don't get FSG. I'm never going to understand this, mate. I'm never, ever, 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 ever going to understand why we jacked that in. And look, you know what's going to be briefed. So, you know there's going to be people, we're going to be briefing now saying that he chose Madrid over us and that that's why Liverpool backed away. That's just fucking lies. I'm sorry. Any journalist that comes out with this to pacify FSG can do one. He was there to be gotten. He wanted to come to us and we bottled it. And I'm sorry, but anybody who writes anything to the contrary, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Grow a fucking backbone. Call them out. They flirted for 2 years with the player. We told the world we were chasing him. Everybody knew about it. And when it comes time to act, when it comes time to step up and get the job done, we cowered like deer frozen in the headlights and walked away to leave Real Madrid have a free run at the player without even... We didn't want to get into a tug of war. We didn't want to get into a battle, but yeah, we just walked away and let Madrid have free reign on him. It's pathetic. And there's no dressing that up. There's no getting away from it. There's no lying. We've been lied to again and again. Where's the generational talent? Where the fuck is it? If it wasn't Mbappe, which is sort of understandable, this was it. It was Jude Bellingham. He's English. He's 19. He wants to leave the Bundesliga to come back to play in another league. The money was there. And we bottled it. And I'll never understand that. And I'll never forgive them for that. Because they've once again made a show of us. And cheaped out. They just cheaped out of it. And look, I'm sure some of you guys are probably watching this thinking, a bit harsh that, Craig. You know? The numbers are big numbers involved in it. They are. But remember, we've constantly been told that we can compete at the top level. We can compete, remember? We have the funds where we can do it. This was the big summer. We were briefed. This was the big summer. January window all the way through, big summer. This is the big summer. The fucking window hadn't even opened and we'd already ran away from Jude Bellingham with our hands in the air saying, no, we can't afford it. It's too much. Don't want to get into a transfer battle with who? Because we've walked away and let them fucking have him. And also, if you've spent 2 years blowing smoke up his arse, and selling yourself to him and selling the vision to him, and then you leave him high and dry again. It's not a great look, is it? To any other players who we maybe courting for a few years, who we might want to try and bring to Liverpool Football Club. It's not a great look for Liverpool that we've just done this. Remember, not my words, Jurgen Klopp's words. The only problem with that player is he's not available. Not my words, our manager's words, or Jude Bellingham. The only problem with that player is he's not available. Well, he's available now. What's the problem? The problem is our owners are cheap fucks, and there are other people who haven't got a backbone who won't call it out, who sit there with their little handy bits of corporate work or their little free tickets or their little bit of access, and they haven't got the balls to actually call them out and say it's pathetic. It's fucking pathetic. We're one of the biggest clubs in world football, and we've constantly not got a pot to piss in. Why? And don't give me the wages. Don't give me the fucking nonsense excuse about wages. Because we just freed up 600 or 700 grand a week with Milner and Firmino moving on, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita. That's a Jude Bellingham wage with some more thrown on. But once again, we run away because we're pathetic. And we are. Our owners are pathetic. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people pandering to their bollocks. Just call them out. They couldn't even be arsed to come over to fucking Liverpool. They swan in once a season maybe, and then fucking disappear again. And look, here's where I have some sympathy for FSG. And I've said this numerous times. I understand that maybe FSG have looked at Liverpool and thought, well, we bought in thinking FFP was going to be implemented, and it hasn't been implemented, and clubs have been taken over by countries, and there's serious amounts of money being spent, and that's more money that they can afford. I get it. I understand that. But also, sell up. If you can't compete, if you can't access or give the funds to compete, sell up. You will make multiples and multiples on your investment of 300 million plus whatever you've loaned the club for the stadium rebuilds. Just sell. But you won't do that, John, because you're a miserable fuck sitting over there in Boston who hates the idea that there might be a couple of pound left on the table that he hasn't rinsed out of Liverpool. Investment. FSG selling them. Where's the minority share you're selling? Where's that money? Where's that money that was going to be front loaded for transfers? Haven't even managed to get that sorted out. And why is that? I don't know. My imagination has a few ideas. Apparently, Jude never had Liverpool as his top priority club to sign. Lie. Lie. Bullshit. Lie. And I'm sure that that's coming from, I don't know, but I'm going to guess it's coming from an English journalist. Because look at the other journalists who have said for many, 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 many months now that he was absolutely willing to come to Liverpool. And that Liverpool were absolutely there. So anybody who's coming out with that is a mouthpiece for FSG. James Pearce. I like James Pearce, but that's bullshit. I'm sorry, that's not true. And if you write that and know differently, I'm sorry, that's not right. Do you know what I mean? If that was the case, then what was the stuff with Hendo, with Trent? All this stuff, like, it's... Again, we're being taken for fucking idiots. We're being taken for idiots by people who are just taking the soup, who are drinking the Kool-Aid. As I said, I like James Pearce. He's a lovely man. But that's not right. I'm sorry. And half the fan base defends this nonsense. Will they still defend it in 2 or 3 years if we're still in the Europa League, you know? I don't understand it. Finally seeing people calling FSG out on Twitter. Do you know what? I don't want to be FSG out. I don't. I don't enjoy in any way, shape or form being on here being critical. I want to be on here enjoying ourselves and celebrating and, you know, going through the years that we've had recently where we've been there or thereabouts. We've put together incredible runs, incredible performances in Europe, and we've been on an incredible journey. Go back to last summer and look at what James Pearce or a few other journalists wrote about Liverpool being well placed to challenge this season again. And major surgery wasn't required, where every single one of us were screaming for midfielders. But once again, the mouthpieces, the apologists, came out with their age-old season after season patter of trying to make out like we were in a better position than we were. Bollocks. I'm sorry, but I've watched football long enough. I know the game. I know what I'm looking at. And I knew we needed midfielders. You knew we needed midfielders. Even Klopp in the end agreed that we were right and needed midfielders. But we didn't get them. But the professional journalists, the people whose job it is to write, and not write as a fanzine, to actually do some fucking journalism and write. But they don't. The journalism we get as Liverpool fans a lot of the time are fluff pieces. They're blowing smoke up people's arseholes because they're too scared to have their access removed. There's no investigative journalism going on around Liverpool. It's all just fanzine bullshit. And it's not good enough. We deserve better. We deserve to have people fighting our corner as fans, not the company's corner, not the vested interests, not the access. People who are actually demanding the best for our football club with the best that we have available. And too many people have just sold their souls. Too many people have just toed the company line because it's a paycheck. And it disgusts me.